This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Today, on this 2019 Winter Season Week 13 weekend, we celebrate the 20th running of a very special event. There were a couple of seasons that were missed, so it was actually a little more than 5 years ago when Luca Varani started this tradition. This will be the 10th running since the Weekend Warriors became the driving force behind the event, adding vRunoffs to the title. Top finishers from past have all been sent invitations, and those who have accepted will race as legacy drivers in specially numbered cars. And where else better to celebrate this milestone than to return to where it all began, America's National Park of Speed. From Road America and presented by the Weekend Warriors, it is the 20th edition of the SRF vRunoffs Big Grid. And you can see all the simulated Spec Racer Ford action from green flag to victory donuts live as it happens here on the Global SimRacing Channel via the iRacing Esports Network. From the Badger State, hello and welcome to another GSRC broadcast streaming your way on IESN. Stefan Slocker joins yours truly, Bill Soupson, to bring you our Word's Eye view. The Doctor of Pits Topology, Amjad Yaman, mans the director's chair, armed with cameras located, aimed, zoomed, and focused by Dougie Beard. Stefan, the SRF is a little car and Road America is a big track, but with so many cars on the starting grid, there should be plenty of room for the field to stretch out. Tell us about this track.
Yeah, you already perfectly said it there, Soup. This 4-mile long track, or 6.5 kilometer for the European units, as I like to call them. 14 turns in total and extremely wide. I wouldn't be surprised if we see 3 to 4 wide going, especially on the first lap into the turn 6 90-degree corner. Situated on about 640 acres in Wisconsin Cattle Moraine. This track is one of only a handful in the world that has remained its original track layout since its opening in 1955. But to really show you what the challenges of this track are for the Spec Racer Ford, let us take you on board our GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Stefan Schlacker in the GSRC MX-5, so let's do a lap around Road America. Down the front stretch, this is one of the prime places to use the draft to slipstream by your opponent. You can still try to outbrake them through turn 1, but it's so much easier to pass them on the straight. Plus, the exit of turn 1 can sometimes catch drivers out by clipping the grass and sending them spinning to the opposite wall. From there, you've got a slight downhill into turn 3. This is one of the most important corners on the track because of it leading onto the moraine sweep. You really don't want to overdrive your entry because it'll leave you a sitting duck on the way down to 5. You'll essentially just straighten out the stretch here, so we'll skip this part and jump to the braking for the next corner. Here at 5, the little bit of a kink in the downhill entry makes it very easy to outbrake yourself. In fact, a lot of race-ending accidents happen on the first lap when things get stacked up here. After that, you climb back up towards 6. The crest right at the entry makes it a very narrow margin of error to hit the fast line. Plus, you won't be able to spot your apex until you're pretty committed. That takes us towards turn 7, which is easily flat out in the MX-5, but I still wouldn't advise trying it too wide. Now, as we come through the hurried downs, you've reached turn 8. This offers chances for a sneak attack because of it being a relatively slow corner. If someone is tucked up behind you, keep your guard up. Immediately, you've got to switch sides to set up for the carousel. As in every car, patience is required to not let it drift out into the marbles and dirt. And yet, because the MX-5 isn't that high-powered, squaring off the exit is going to be critical to a good lap. Fail to keep your momentum and everyone's gonna be on the attack. But before you hit the fastest part, you've got to swing through the kink, which is also flat out in the Miata. Just pray that you don't catch traffic and get slowed up. Jumping forwards to the end of the kettle bottoms, the braking for Canada Corner tends to cause accidents through miscommunication or just plain coming in too hot. This is where you finally leave the thick woods and return to the sunshine of Bill Mitchell Bend. The car likes to get squirrely over this blind crest, and you could find yourself with some serious damage if you overcorrect the car. You won't have much time before you're chucking it into the final corner. This is another one where I'd advise not overdriving the entry. The front stretch is the longest straight on the circuit, and it has this crazy steep uphill climb to boot. Every ounce of speed that you can get from the engine of the MX-5 will count. But hopefully, if you've kept it all together, you've now finished a lap around Road America.
Takes a while to get that little SRF around the 4 miles here at Road America. All right, week 13 is always a special time on GSRC. We get to cover a few special events. Not only this one, but one that we usually cover is one you're going to see in a couple hours. We're going to bring in Luca Verani to talk about that event. Luca, what do you have in store for us this time?
Hi guys, thanks for the invitation. I was supposed to drive here as a legacy driver. I couldn't do it because I'm organizing a similar big grid race with Formula 3. It's 60 cars at Road America. It's a charity event. We expect a good show. There is your excellent commentary, so if you feel like it, please tune in and watch.
Let's take a second and actually talk about the charity, because I was researching it and I was touched by what you're trying to do. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Very quickly, it's something we called the Formula Giving Race for Vimala. We started it last year with the Formula Renault. Now we are in the Formula 3. It's basically Sister Bertilla, it's called. She is a nun in Mumbai. She goes around the slums of Mumbai with her bike, and she cures people affected by leprosy. She cures some 10,000 people per year. The numbers are amazing. This is not what we are supporting, but the other thing that she does is that she takes under her wings orphans or kids of people with leprosy, and she feeds them and takes care of them, provides an education. She literally changes the kid's life. There is a success story of a kid starting in the slums of Mumbai, sleeping with rats in her crib, if you can call it a crib. And she ended up in college, and she is now a teacher. So it's certainly a worthy cause. If you feel like donating, anything is much appreciated.
And we'll have links to that on the GSRC YouTube page as well, and we'll talk about it during the race. Thanks for the good work you're doing. We'll see you in a couple hours. Good luck.
Bye, guys.
Luca Verani, you're going to be able to check that here out on the Global SimRacing Channel. That'll start in about an hour after this event wraps up. And let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this event. What's going on here? Well, we said this is the 20th edition of it. They've been doing it for a long time, and Road America has really where it all began. We're going to race for 40 minutes. There's going to be no pit stops. This is a sprint race in these little SRF machines. They do get one fast repair, so they can still have some fun. But honestly, Stefan, if you need to come into pit lane on this one, your day's pretty much over as far as winning.
Yeah, it's an extremely long pit lane and extremely slow compared to what you normally see cars flying past with. On the really fast cars, we see up to about 250 miles per hour down the front stretch alone. So, but even with these small SRFs, they can still quite get some velocity on them down that front stretch. So you really do not want to take any damage, also especially because of the long straights we have. So you're gonna be suffering there if you have damage. It's just stay out of trouble for as long as you can, and then at the end, be right there to take it all.
Yeah, it's hard in these cars. This is such a draft-dependent racetrack. It's going to be hard for drivers to run away. We've seen fields that have filled all the way up to 60. They call it the big grid, and honestly, that's where we get a lot of these. Today, we're going to be a little room for some people to get in there. We're going to go about 44, 45 entries, I believe. Still pretty darn big. Let's go ahead, and I get a hunch that I'm going to need a sweater here. Can we bring up the weather and see what we're dealing with? Yeah, what do you think, Stefan?
Well, yeah, mostly cloudy, 69-degree Fahrenheit in the air, but the track is now up to 77-degree Fahrenheit, wildly varying depending on how much cloud cover we have over the track. That wind, though, 22 miles per hour from the west. I currently do not know from where that's coming, but I think it's going into turn 1, so that might actually help these drivers.
Boy, and just from that, you can see on these different camera angles, you can see how this track is so big that it is shady in one place and sunny in another, and that's one of the new features that iRacing has with their dynamic weather. And you know what? If you haven't done so yet, you can join the iRacing community and compete online against thousands of players in the world's most realistic racing simulation. The best of the best in the iRacing World Championship, as well as many top private leagues. And then these private events, like the one you're watching right now, are spotlighted on the iRacing eSport Network. GSRC is proud to be part of the IASN stable of broadcasters. There you go. Look how sunny it is right there. And you look at that shot. And then somewhere else on this track, it's so far around here in Wisconsin, it could be dark and shady.
All right, so I had a quick look at where this...
Hang on for 1 second. That gives you a great shot of the wind. Can we stay on that camera for a little bit? Look at those trees blowing. That's your 22-mile-an-hour wind right there, baby.
Yeah, exactly. And as I said, I had the quick look, and it's actually blowing out of turn 1 into turn, what is essentially turn 3, even though I don't really see that kink in the straight between turn 1 and 2. But anyway, yeah, it's blowing from turn 1 into turn 3, so it is gonna blow these cars to the outside through the kink, so it might actually affect even these small little SRFs a little bit through the fast kink.
That's probably the scariest corner here, and the kink. So you're saying it's blowing you towards the wall as you go through the kink. Then is that what you were saying? That's not
exactly
what I would want to hear. Oh no, that's the last thing I need to go around this track. There we're looking at Paul Barbuza.
Can we have a short appreciation for Stevie Ray? Normally a mid-runner in the Weekend Warriors, sitting right now in qualifying in 4th position.
Where Stevie Ray runs the Weekend Warriors. It's a series we cover I believe that's on Sunday, every Sunday. We'll have that again coming up next season. Week after week, 12 in a row, as we ride on board with Kane Halliburton, another one of the strong drivers in that series. Steph, these cars are fun to drive for me. I learned so much from driving these ones, because so much of getting them around it is you can turn them not only with the steering wheel, but with the throttle as well.
Normally you would rotate them with the throttle, but I think it's way more with the brake, with how much you do, or rather don't be on the throttle, because this car really rotates over the brake, over being not on the throttle. That's where it really rotates, and that's where most of the time you see most of the problems coming. So if someone has to lift in the kink, for example, they might really run into troubles because of that. But you can modulate the drift, or how much you slide with the throttle, because it has such a massive understeer on the throttle.
as a new driver, that's one of the things I had to learn was when the car started to get loose, started to get light in the rear end and start to come around, the natural reflex is to get off the throttle, and that just makes it worse. You actually give it a little gas will make that back end stick.
Exactly. You if you start to slide, you actually want to give it more throttle so that stabilizes again, because it has such a soft suspension setup and is actually quite a little bit aero dependent. But that is only slipstream wise. Sure, it does help a little bit that you have those arrows on the bodywork, but apart from that, it's all about the slipstream on this car. And if you get it right, this car really sticks to the road.
Qualifying going on right now. Sitting at the top of the chart. Let me scroll to the right one. It's Jonathan Madden. Putting in a 2:33.2. That's about a tenth of a second faster than David Sanchez, who sits in second.
Interestingly enough, we only see David Gaspers right now in 7th place with a 2:34.087. And you won't improve because he's sitting in pit lane.
Nicknamed the Ghost, he is always somebody to watch when we get into one of these ones. But yes, that's surprising to see him where he is. Oh, but you know what? On this track with this draft, 7th, he could be 14th. It really doesn't matter. We have 40 minutes to get us sorted out. No pit stops, plenty of time.
Let's see what Rob Fierce can do here over the line. Actually gets a push now from Stevie Ray. And Rob Fierce was at 2:35.8.
Sitting in third. That's where he will remain. Going a little bit off there is Jason Perry, another Weekend Warrior veteran.
Alejandro Leiro is going to be the next car over the line. He does not have a lap to his time to his name so far. So it will be interesting what he can do on his one and only attempt.
Coming across the line right now as we speak. Will it count?
Nope.
It does not. He stays at the bottom. Now, I talked about track position not being that important here. That's when I was talking maybe 12th or so. 41st, that's a little different story. Antonio Reese is currently in 21st.
Did improve to 16th there. Did improve his own lap time there by 6/10. So great jump for him. Clark Williams in the next car over the line also does improve from 21st to 16th.
38 drivers have put in qualifying times. 3 drivers have yet in our field of 41.
I think that is it. No.
Here comes Bob Kern. Always a challenger in the what's basically the AM class in the Weekend Warriors. He's always in that one, running up front. I think he finished second this season.
A 2:51.4, so he had problems there. I don't know if Mats Joblom got over the line before the checkered flag came out, but he is coming into pit lane.
He's going to bring it in.
James Tibor is actually going for one more try here. He's sitting in 13th right now.
Last car out on the track, I believe. Are they going to let this one count?
Nope.
I'm not sure. I don't think he's going to get that one. So when it's all said and done, 38 drivers were able to post a time. 3 did not in our 41 car field. We are assuming it is a pace lap all the way around. Let's wait to see before we go to the grid. Oh, we started the music. Let's go to the grid right now. It is Jonathan Madden on the front row, and David Sanchez is going to be outside of him. Stefan?
Rob Fierce and Stevie Ray will make up row 2 of this motor race.
Weekend Warrior veteran Kane Halliburton in the 5th spot, flanked by Luca Agretti.
David Gaspers and Mehdi Mokrani make up row 4.
Row 5 is populated by Hendrik Lindoff and Jason Perry.
Edward O'Hady misses out barely by 0.03 of a second on 10th place. Michael Scholl will line up beside him.
In the baker's dozen position, it's Jane Tiber inside of Jerry McAreevy.
James King and Clark Williams will make out a row. 8.
In 17th and 18th, Antonio Reese and Richard Yulland.
Stephen Elson and Marek Ondrak make out the top 20.
Hidden Blackjack, it's Francesco Bernardo. He's going to be inside of veteran Bob Kern.
The number 5 machine of Adam Bradshaw and the 000 machine of Christopher Patterson will make up a row 12th.
Behind them, Rick Hansen and Richard Franco.
Jeff Cantor will line up besides Mark Gehan in 27th and 28th.
Tom Gradwell and Jeff Jacobson fill up the next row.
Jim McGill and Wayne Palmer are 31st and 32nd.
Get a little deeper now. We go to 33rd, Paul Brabuza, and John Dion is going back in 34th.
Nathan Sittle, the number 17 machine, will line up besides the 987 of Paulo Martins.
37th goes to Matt Soblum. Jeff Hornjak goes in 38th.
39th, and therefore the first car that did not put in a lap time will be Alejandro Leiro alongside Jos Smits.
Then there's one car left back there. Michael Griffith did not put in a time. He's going to start 41st. We got through the entire field. Now I'm hoping that we have a standing start as we got all of that in, but I have a hunch that we're going to take the leisurely Sunday drive around the Wisconsin countryside. Steph and I always wonder when we come here, some tracks have that abbreviated pace laps for some reason. iRacing lets the Road America drivers drive the entire field. So if you want to get a snack, you got time. Go over. You can actually probably cook a turkey by the time we're ready to start this race.
See, I sometimes wish that the Nürburgring Nordschleife would have a full pace lap. No, I'm serious about this. It just 24 hours they have the full pace lap, and it just gives an interesting feel to it. The long pace laps, I don't really like the cut-off pace laps, like for example Circuit Gilles Villeneuve has, where I actually understand it because of so many chicanes and they're so tight that it actually makes sense to not have that full pace lap, to make take away the potential for big pileups already on the first outlap, as there's a car in the gravel, Richard Yealand, sitting there in the gravel of turn 3.
I've had the opportunity to cover him racing a lot. He is surprisingly quick, but this is really a testimony to how his races often go. He's fast, but he has a hard time getting it to the checker flag in one piece. You were talking about the pace lap when where are you going? Oh, that looks like maybe a hardware error. That hardware failure.
I'm not sure. He had turned his wheel to the left slightly. I'm right now in the cockpit camera for him. Maybe he had an emergency to attend.
There you go.
Step away for a second.
That's it. Maybe a package came to the door, or the wife was looking particularly attractive, and he got distracted. You talked about the pace lap when the Nürburgring came out. The first thing I did was get in my little MX-5. I said, I'm going to drive this thing like I'm driving to the store to get a bottle of milk. See if I can make it all the way around. Just take my time. It was a great way. I was so proud of myself. I made it. It took me about half an hour to get it done, but that's probably the only lap I've made without crashing. Working through the carousel now.
See, the thing is with me and the Nürburgring, I actually had a long time competition with my friends on R-Factor 2, where we took it to the Nordschleife with the Formula 1 cars and we tried to set the fastest lap times that we possibly can. That's also quite fun and quite challenging.
Hey, I can report that Yalin has paid for the pizza and he's back out on track now. He's got to catch up to the field. But it's good that he'll be racing with us.
You know what he's doing? He's doing the MotoGP strategy right now. Some people take it slower on the warm-up lap. He goes full pace. And he's doing exactly that, waiting for the field to drive past and then catch up real fast to get into a groove already.
Maybe he wants some momentum when he gets to the main. Have the car revved up so he can see how many he can blow by. Jonathan Madden is our pole sitter. He's in control. David Sanchez, they work their way through Canada corner now, one of the passing zones here. Just a few more corners. Coming up on the right-hander. And then the pace car will pull in, and then it'll be a while before Madden is given the okay to take this to full throttle. And there goes the pace car pulling in right now down that long pit lane that won't be a factor in today's race. All right, it's time to go racing. We wait and we wait and we wait for Jonathan Madden to get on the throttle. I think we're rolling. Gather up the chickens, take cutlery on the cows. 41 horses are out of the barn, and it is Jonathan Madden leading the stampede down into the first corner. It takes a long time to get there.
And the top three already single file there. Jonathan Madden really defending his position there, able to defend it into turn 1. First side-by-side is for P5 right now between David Gaspers and Stevie Ray. David Gaspers with the inside now for turn 3 though, and actually tries to make a move on Kane Halliburton, but thinks better of it.
Everybody through that first corner's clean. A guy making a move. We'll talk about him in a minute. Steven Elson picked up a few spots. Elson back racing about 19th position. Now they come down to probably one of the best passing zones on the track. At least it's one of the most exciting ones. Corner number 5. Boy, you want to defend the inside.
You're saying it right there. David Gasper stays behind, but Stevie Ray takes to the inside there of Hendrik Lindhoff. But is able to defend his position over Hendrik Lindhoff after having to give up the position against David Gaspers just a few moments ago. But yeah, Hendrik Lindhoff actually has to be careful now against Mehdi Mokrani, but is able to defend that position.
Keep an eye on, they call him Gaspers the Ghost. Car number 21 back there, David Gasper. He is fast. We know him from the Weekend Warrior events. He races in 5th position right now. A little bit of a gap between Gasper and Steve Ray. Ray's got to get going. Stepping that gap almost a second.
Yeah, you're saying it, Stevie Ray. He is dropping off a little bit. Quite interesting to see that we're already seeing that train, that famous train, starting to take off the station already, and it's right now endangering that David Gaspers is not able to catch that train.
Don't want to jinx it, but so far this first lap has been pretty clean. Down into Canada for the very first time. I did jinx it. And it was Paul Barbosa. Oh, a big one in the back. We'll come back and look at this one. Barbosa involved with it. We're going to come back to it. Oh, y'all, and they keep coming. Oh, this is an ugly one. I blame myself.
This looks heavily like someone ran a bit too wide through the kink. What happened there?
Going to see there's a lot to look at. Oh, it's Bernardo that gets loose and right in front of everybody, and then it's an octopus putting on his socks. Some drivers, I think, got there so quick that iRacing gave them a break and they were able to ghost contact through. That was not pretty.
Actually, that was not... Doherty, he was there, but actually he was really quite fast out of the way again. But there was a second car that caused most of the mayhem.
All right. Well, remember the driver that had that technical issue on the pace lap? That was Yalin. He was back in the back, and boy, his race. He's had several issues now. Madden up in front. Fears in second. There is a battle for third. Let's tune into this one. It did not take long for the Ghost. Gasper's now up into third. He makes his way around Kane Halliburton. Halliburton, another big name. Keep an eye on him.
And while we were on the replay, Rob Fierce actually tried to overtake Jonathan Madden, but he had a bad exit out of turn 3, and Jonathan Madden was able to get past again. They only were side by side down the front stretch. So yeah, Jonathan Madden pretty much dodged the bullet there to lose his first position.
We talked about the front 5. Let's talk about the back half of your top 10 real quick. They're a little more frisky. Hendrik Lindell is in a battle with Steve Bray right now. They go side by side, watching the whole thing back there. Is Mehdi Makrani. Boy, I just butchered that one. Hey, if you want to play the GSRC consumption game, take a step every time this commentator butchers a name. Luca Agretti back there in 9th. Jason Perry in his familiar. Is he racing his Spider-Man machine? He sure is. Oh, we don't get to race that one here.
Well, Mehdi Mokrani is now going side by side with Hendrik Lindhoff. Lindhoff able to brake later though, but he gained the position over Stevie Ray. So Stevie Ray now in 8th position, as he lost 2 positions in this lap.
Better go back up front, check on the top 5. Things are heating up a little bit. Madden there. Gaspers. We told you to watch out for him. Pay no attention to that 7th place qualifying. He's now up into 2nd. Fears, Halliburton, these are all big names in this car. And Sanchez, your front 5. And they've continued to grow the gap. Now 2.5 seconds, Stefan. They're gone.
Yeah, you're saying it. They're gone as David Gaspers now takes over the lead officially from Jonathan Madden. Only took him 2 and a bit laps to take that first position away, starting from 7th.
So based on what we've seen in past on GSRC, maybe his biggest competition would be Kane Halliburton back there in 4th. If you're a Weekend Warriors fan, you know that he is quick. But these 5 guys all are close enough to have a chance to win. It's a big grid, so why don't we go ahead and talk about the next 5 drivers. Let's go back to 11th. Antonio Reese. Steven Elson, he's quick. Keep an eye on him. James King back there in 13th position. James Tieber, and then Clark Williams. So they're in little groups of 5, and there's a pass up front in that lead there.
Yep, Jonathan Madden retook the lead there from David Gaspers.
Knows nicely that the drivers have sorted themselves into a handful of groups here. There's 5, and 5. With that said, I'd like to go back in and check in on the driver in 5th position. I'm a little bit worried about Sanchez. Yeah, learned that he's not. Maybe he might just be leaving enough room in case there's an issue in front of him. He has room to get away from it, but I don't know. Is it pace or is it just being careful?
He had a little bit of a small little moment on the curb of turn 6. That's why he opened up a little bit of a gap here, but he has to be careful now to not fall off the train here as they go side by side for the lead yet again.
2 by 2 into Canada. Right now on the inside of the preferred position, it's Gaspers. He's able to hold it off from Madden. Fierce, but I'm telling you, the guy who's really been working back there at Halliburton is all over the back of Fierce right now. And that 2 by 2 racing, well, if you're worried about Sanchez, that just allowed him to catch back up. He's back in the mix now. Love that camera. Look at those cars coming at you.
In the second group, we have a little bit of development as Luca Leonetto Agretti is losing.
Let's go up front. 3 wide up front. This is ugly. On the inside, that is Jonathan Madden. In the middle is Gaspers. No, that's Fears who's going to get it. I apologize. That's Madden pulls out of the middle. Fears on the inside is in 2nd position now.
Oh,
Gaspers was stuck on the high side. Go.
Halliburton missed the gear there out of turn 1, drops immediately a few feet behind, but because the guys ahead of fighting, he stays with them. And yeah, as you said, Jonathan Madden 3 wide there. I thought we were gonna see that in the first lap, but we're now on the 4th lap, and it's the first time we saw someone go 3 wide. But as you saw, it's no problem with these small cars on this wide track. It's easily possible to go 4 wide here.
A while back, Wade and Palmer got together with Merrick Ondrak. Those two got together. Palmer got the worst of it. I think his day is done. We don't need to go there as we continue to ride on board with the guys up front. So how did that sort out after the commentator got confused of who was doing what? That's Gaspers, Madden, Fears, Sanchez, and now Halliburton back in 5th. Uh-oh. Elson has an issue.
Oh, Tibor too. What is happening right now?
It was James King got into it, and James Tibor. Let's stay with it. We go in this one. We'll watch King and Elsa get together. Now if you can go up to Tibor, who's just in front. You see him off in the grass. His day's not done, though, as he gets it back out on, and he loses it there and spins it. We're going to ride on board with the man who, first he got away with it, and then he just couldn't get the car back onto the cement. This will be fun.
Yeah, quite an interesting ride for James there. I think he actually got some ghost contact there with the car of Steve Elson, who already did park his car behind the wall and gave his motor race up.
All right, I'm good, I'm on the ground. Oh! And he loses it. All right, up front, those 5 continue to race. Stefan, let's jump ahead to the last lap. The start-finish line is so far away from the final corner. There's plenty of time to snake somebody at the end. You might even want to be second, third, maybe even fourth and have a chance to steal the win here.
Well, let's have a look at what we just saw over the line, which pretty much was what you could expect from the last lap. And David Gaspers, even though he had a great run out of the last turn, wasn't able to get past Jonathan Madden in time. He lost out. If that would have been the last lap, he would have lost out by 0.004 seconds.
We look at the front 5, all veteran drivers. They all know how to race together. I would be surprised if these guys get together before the last lap. Now, there are no points on the line here. This is an exhibition race, so things may open up a little bit side by side right now, and that's Jonathan Madden with a little momentum. He's going to have the preferred position into corner number 5. Gasper's back into second.
Oh, a little bit of a hit there between the two.
A little bit of encouragement there, and Gaspers goes off on the grass, gathers it back up, loses the spot. Now he's back in third.
Oh, there's a big cloud moves over the track right now.
What else?
Track temperature, by the way, right now 88 degrees Fahrenheit. So that track temperature really did pick up quite a bit since we started this race here.
Let's jump back to 14th position. These are a couple of veterans that we see a lot. This is Michael Shaw and Adam Bradshaw. They're just in a little 2-car battle. We'll look at them as they work their way through Hurry Downs. These guys are about 13 seconds behind the leaders. With no yellow flags here today, I think these guys will be fighting amongst themselves for these positions.
And speaking about the lead, we nearly had a 3-wide situation there, but David Gaspers thought better of it, and Rob Fierce is trying to go for the lead right now. As you can see, through kind of a little bit of a hip check there between the two.
I said that I didn't think these guys would be this aggressive this early. They're having fun. That was Fierce who got into the side of Matt. Gaspers watching from the popcorn position. Hey, look at this. Sanchez has worked his way up into 4th. Halliburton now's got a little pedaling to do. Back in 5th.
Yeah, he really dropped off. I think he missed a gear out of Canada. As David Gaspers tries to go for 2nd place right now.
Gaspers on the inside. He's alongside of Fierce. He'll probably get the spot. It's going to be a twofer. Let's get them both. He gets Madden and Fierce in one shot. And that looks so fun that Sanchez thinks he's going to do it too. He's there too late. Did not have presentation. Fierce didn't know he was there. He turns into him, making a great evasive maneuver as Halliburton. Here comes the next 5. They managed to get through. Take a look at this one. This, I think, was a little bit of an optimistic move on the part of Sanchez here.
It's always a bit hard. In real life racing, you would say he was there. Yeah, he was there, but I don't know. I would say it is a bit too late. But as you say, in real life, he was there.
So looking at it again, this gives us an opportunity. That's pretty darn good presentation. Wasn't all the way alongside, but you could make a case for either driver there. Look at Halliburton take it off into the beach like David Hasselhoff gets us straightened out, back onto the pavement.
But yeah, as you said, you can make a case for both. Like the move was on, he was alongside, and then obviously the other side, it was too late. He should have backed off again, and yeah, it's just a common racing incident. You can't really go for if there would be penalties in this series, then you couldn't really go for anyone saying it's his fault.
I think that's kind of the nature of the beast in one of these exhibition races. You get maybe to try something you wouldn't really do in a regular series. So what does that mean? Well, now it's a two-car battle up front. Oh, let's go there for a second. This is Gaspers and Madden. Gasper's actually doing a little bit of weaving, trying to protect that position. I don't know why. It's not like he's going to run away with it. Madden gets the spot. But these guys are now 5 seconds ahead. So once a 5-car battle, well, now it's 6 because that evasive maneuver that Kane Halliburton had to do, that brought him right back in the mix with these guys who were back there racing for what was 6th position. Now is actually 3rd position because we've lost Sanchez and Fears.
Yeah, big 7-car group right now for 3rd position. And I actually have to say David Gaspers and Jonathan Madden have to be careful, because if they fight too much, like they're again side by side here going over the start-finish line, they will be caught by this 7-car group behind them.
I said we lost Fears. Actually, though, he's still out there racing. He's racing in 6th position now, right behind Jason Perry. As they work their way up the long straightaway into corner number 1. Halliburton beginning to pull Hendrik Lindhoff away. Halliburton has the pace to maybe, I don't know if he has the pace to make up the gap of what would it be, like 4.7 seconds to the leader, but certainly might be able to bring Hendrik Lindhoff with him and make that a 2-car battle.
As on the bottom of your screen, you're able to see Jonathan Madden has retaken the lead of this motor race again into turn 5, and it seems like that Lindhoff and Halliburton are starting to creep a little bit away from the 5-car group that is behind them.
Things settle down a bit. Let's take this opportunity to get a little screen time to some of these guys. 12th position, Clark Williams in a battle with James King. Williams qualified 16th, up 4 spots. King racing 2 spots ahead of where he qualified. Those guys are nicely in a little 2-car duet, doing a dance. Another battle, if we can go back to 15th. This is Bob Kern and Michael Shaw. They continue to waltz. Let's stay with these guys a little bit. They go into hurry down, this left-hander. See if Shaw's going to make an attack here. Nope, pretty smooth. Uh-oh, here he comes. He's got an opportunity. Let's stay with the Shaw around the carousel, trying to do it the high side. Not going to happen. Let's stay with these guys all the way through the kink. Shaw looks to have the pace. Gets to the inside, side by side. Not going to force it. This is not where he want to do it.
It's a bit interesting. He didn't lift there, but he just didn't have enough aerodynamic efficiency to stay side by side.
Oh, we talked about James King. He was in that battle with Clark Williams. Well, that's done. A mistake from King. We're going to look for that one.
Oh, it's through the kink. Those were the tire marks I saw there. Just missing the apex ever so slightly. Going on the big bumpy curb on the inside, and he goes for quite a spin.
Blame it on the wind, James. That's what I would do. I think I just wrote my title for a country song, I think. Blame it on the wind. Up front, Jonathan Madden ahead of David Gaspers. They will continue to swap positions. We come back live.
As Hendrik Lindhoff has done the fastest lap right now of this motor race, as both Lindhoff and Halliburton went super wide through turn 1.
That's what we talked about, Halliburton having the pace, and I think Lindhoff was behind him and got a draft and made the pass around him. That's why he got that fast lap. That interval, 4.6 seconds to the 2 leaders in front. But look what they have done between the guys behind him. Let's go to that right now. Jason Perry is getting freight trained. Mokrani makes the move. as does Rob Fears. Watching the whole thing back there in 9th position, Luca Agretti.
But yeah, quite interesting that Halliburton and Lindhoff got so easily away from the group behind them. And it really does seem like that Lindhoff and Halliburton have the pace to maybe even get up to the top 2 drivers of Gaspers and Madden. We really will have to watch that gap for you.
We look at them right now. Let's stay on this a bit, see how that sorts out. Here comes the move being made. Side by side. Boy, look how evenly they are matched. And the 66 is going to have the preferred position. He's going to get that pass made. Move Madden back up into the lead.
But yeah, with that, they're costing themselves ever so slightly a little bit of time back to Kane Halliburton and Hendrik Lindhoff, who also were side by side up to Canadian corner, but Hendrik Lindhoff decided to lift and let Halliburton take the racing line and take his speed with him.
Gonna jump you back to 27th position. There's battles going on back here. This is Tom Gradwell that just made the pass on Paulo Martins. They go down into corner number 5. Careful, boys. We got you on screen now. Let's race clean. That's Martins behind. Gradwell in 27th. How far away from the leaders are these guys? Oh, Mike, is that right? They're over a minute 47 behind the leaders? Yikes.
Yeah, don't forget these guys were involved in the shenanigans after the kink. So they had to take to get their second car as Richard Franco was in the grass there.
All by himself. He just lost that one. Let's look like corner number 6. He went around. Well, tip of the hat to those guys that are back there still racing. Just as competitive as Madden and Gaspers up front.
Oh, we have to go to Stevie Ray right now. He just got a big shove into the back of Luca Leonetto Agretti, who completely missed his braking point and kind of used Stevie Ray there as his stopper.
Yeah, that's... Well, let's put it into the gearbox of the car in front. Boy, Ray did get a shot. Agretti's going to lose a lot of pace. That was into corner number 5. Stefan, I don't know if there is enough time, but little by little, Halliburton and Lindgren are beginning to knock off time to the 2 leaders.
Yeah, last lap was not faster actually for them. But once again, David Gaspers and Jonathan Madden are side by side into Canadian corner.
It all depends how much they horseplay up front to what those guys back in 2nd and 3rd can do.
Big slide for Kane Halliburton there.
Halliburton now out in front of Lindroth.
And also
4.2 seconds back. Yeah,
Jonathan Madden also had a big slide through the last turn, so he did cost himself a little bit of time to give Gaspers. Let's actually see how did the lap times compare. 2:33.888 for David Gaspers and 2:33.768 for Kane Halliburton, so just over a 10th cut out of the lead.
Good racing. These little SRFs always put on a good show, whether we put you on a big track.
Oh, Agretti just spun out of position 9 in turn 1. Immediately jumps out of the car there.
After getting into the back of Steve Ray, he had lost contact with the guys in front. The car got loose. He was really pushing it. spins right in front of David Sanchez. Sanchez gets by easily. So Sanchez moves up a spot now into 8th, as does everybody else behind him.
Oh, and guess what? The lead has changed again.
You don't want to be too nonchalant about it, but yes, that's kind of how it is.
Jonathan Madden and David Gaspers are trading back and forth. This time, David Gaspers made the pass through turn 6, actually. And this has allowed for Halliburton to get ever so slightly closer to the top 2.
We're going to look at Sanchez, who had an issue. I did not see this. I'm watching this one live with you guys. Is that corner number? Is that 6?
That's 5.
That's corner
That's
5.
The hairpin over the gravel trap. That's never a good idea, especially in these cars, and just stops on track.
More positions for the other drivers. Up front, I'd like to go ahead. I want to watch Madden and idea of how far the start-finish line is out of the final corner. They're working through 13 and 13A right now. So they're coming up to the last corner. Watch where the start-finish line is and how much opportunity there is. You almost don't want to make your move too soon. There's enough time for maybe the guy to get back behind you again. So here comes the pass. This will be a good indication of what we're looking on the last lap. They're still not there. They're still not there. They're about halfway to the start-finish line now. They're getting up to it, side by side, right here.
Yeah,
and that one goes to Gaspers.
Jonathan Madden had a little bit of a mistake there out of the last turn, so that went to David Gaspers there if that would have been a last lap already, but we still have 14 minutes remaining. David Gaspers would have gotten this one by 0.015 of a second.
Puts a lot of pressure to get that final corner right on that final lap. Okay, the gap is now 3.2 seconds behind Madden and Halliburton right now. I don't think there's enough time with only 13 and a half minutes of racing to go, but they are closing. Here's another pass for the lead. The 66 of Madden gets around Gasper. Now that's a good pass. I don't know if that one really slows him down.
Well, it depends on what David Gaspers does now. Through turn 6, he stays behind. So yeah, that was a good pass.
When I talk about a good pass, I'm talking about a leapfrog where the guy behind can make the slingshot, get in front without slowing down the car in front of him. When they go into a corner too wide, that's not good. Uh-oh, Steve Ray has had issues.
That does seem like an issue out of turn 5, and so it was. He was a bit too fast there as we go into a replay to show you exactly what happened. Was a bit too fast, had a bit of a slide on the apex and over the small gravel trap that is there, and completely spins himself out over that bump.
You can see the unique aerodynamic package that he is racing there on his tail after the bump that he got before. Uh-oh, and it continues.
Oh.
And now the car has an interesting package on the front.
Yeah, he went from the high downforce setup to the super high downforce setup.
Yes, he did.
And
Yes.
David Gaspers passed once again Jonathan Madden into Canada corner. So David Gaspers now is first place with around about 12 minutes to go.
And we have it looks like this looks like a mechanical difficulty here for Marcrani. The car just goes left. Is it off on the grass? No, it just. If I didn't know better, I'd say something broke on the car.
Yeah, if iRacing would have mechanical failures, then probably
it would look like this.
Yeah.
Oops, here we go. It's coming up right here. As the car's, look how straight he is. He gets a little wide, but the car's safely on the cement. Whoop!
There you can see that's full lock left right there for his car.
Halliburton has had an issue. Let's look at that one. Oh, they got together. These guys were running down the 2 leaders. They were trying to work together. I'm watching it live with you on this for the first time. Oh, he gets him. Uh-oh. Oh, and he collects him.
Yeah, too fast, too wide for Kane Halliburton, then over the bumps in the grass, completely loses it, and yeah, no chance for Henrik Lindhoff to avoid that. Does a very neat 360 though, and goes back around.
And we're going to ride on board with Lindhoff, who thought he had it cleared. I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm not safe. So what that does is promote Rob Fierce. Remember him? Well, he's back up into a podium spot now. He was involved in that corner 1 confrontation. We thought his day was done. He's going to get himself a podium. 9.5 seconds behind Gaspers.
I want to take a quick shout out though back to 12th and 13th position. Now I know you don't like to call them the real hard chargers of this event, but Jos Metz and Alejandro Leiro starting from 40th to 12th in the name of Jos Metz and Alejandro Leiro. We saw him put up a qualifying lap of his own.
Right.
So for him, from 39th to 13th, very impressive runs by both of them.
For the most part, I don't like to credit guys with the hard charger award who don't put in a qualifying time. I can give them a break though if they try. If I see them out there trying and they don't get in a clean lap, that almost counts. Good job from them. 31 cars still racing on the lead lap. How about a little love to the driver at the very back of the lead lap there, John Dion, racing in the number 7 machine all by himself. He's at a couple. Oh, and now he is a lap down because I think he just had an issue a lap ago. His car, that's not how it was designed.
Could you say that's a modified car?
Yeah, that's. Last time I checked, he was having a good day. Sorry, John.
Speaking of having a good day, though, we're looking off Richard Franco there onto the 2 leaders of Jonathan Madden and David Gaspers. They're trading back and forth. They're trading the turn 1 like some trading cards there in the youth. And yeah, they just have nothing to worry about because also behind them, Rob Fierce and Jason Perry, they're also trading position, as Jason Perry just took away 3rd place from Rob Fierce here into turn 5.
Let's go back and stay on the leaders here, and we'll give Richard Franco a little tip of the hat or a wag of the finger, depending on how he does getting out of the way as a back marker. You can't make your car invisible, Richard. It has to be somewhere. I feel for you. Just hold a nice racing line and let these guys go around you. Hopefully, they won't try to go around you too wide. Oh, I think they're going to catch him in a really good spot. Let's see if they get through here, catch him before Canada. Well, they may not get there. If they don't catch him before Canada, that'll make it a little more interesting. Here they come. That is Gaspers leading Madden. A little bit of a lift here, Franco, might be good. That's one way to get out of the way.
That's the choke collab right there. Chosen by Franco. But yeah, that at least gets him a little bit out of the way of the 2 leaders. And Jonathan Madden really dropped off the back of David Gaspers.
See, if you're watching from a Backmarkers United meeting, what you may want to consider there is holding your racing line, maybe a slight lift, and let them get by you before you get to the corner. It'll be good for everybody. They go around Jeff Korniak. Boy, look at this. Look what that lap traffic has done. That's opened up a bit of a gap now. Gaspers now with a half-second gap. I don't think it means anything. I think Madden's going to be able to run him down.
Well, we'll have to see. Obviously, Jonathan Madden, he had to draft off the lap car on the front stretch as Jason Perry takes away third place yet again from Rob Fierce. But Jonathan Madden, he was in risk of losing the back of David Gaspers, but I think he has caught the draft again, and yeah, he gets back up to him again.
You know, we like to give you battles throughout the field. We're not always focused. GSRC prides itself as not just covering the leaders, but right now, the best battle on the track is right here, 1-2.
Well, I would say it's actually for 12th position right now between James Tibor, Alejandro Leiro, and Jos Smith.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good one. Let's check in on them. That's good.
That is, as said, a 3-car battle for P12, and Stevie Ray, he's not that far off of them. Stevie Ray, the 11th car, in 11th right now.
They head down into 5. This is a good passing zone. Let's see if Liero wants to force the issue and dive it in there. He does not. If you don't get it here, you can get a good run and you can try it into 6. And he's got a good run at it. Let's see if he forces the issue. He's going to wait. Not much you can do through here. They head up now into the left-hander, that is Hurry Downs, and they'll head to the carousel. We can stay on this one a while. We don't want to jump you around. You get a little feel for what the racing is going on. I can report that there was a pass for the lead. Oh, no! There you go.
Well, that's that battle cut nearly in half.
James Tibor makes the mistake. He's out of it. Liero inherits 12th position. Smets gets 13. I was saying that during that spin that I was checking back in on the leaders, and yes, they had made a pass, but they've done about... Boy, we should go back and review how many passes there have been for the lead. Here's one happening right now. Let's see who gets to the start-finish line first this time. It was Madden. He didn't get there.
And that was actually already with 2 to go here. And this time around, Jonathan Madden would have won the race by 0.003 of a second. So 3/1000ths of a second there went in favor of Jonathan Madden.
Boy, that's about as close to a dead heat as you can get. Okay, with apologies to the rest of the drivers back in the field, we're going to focus our attention here for these final, what are going to be about 3 minutes of racing up front, as it is Madden making the pass on Gaspers.
Yeah, all 3 podium spots are still pretty much open, as Jason Berry and Rob Fierce are also behind them fighting right now.
Boy, they were really close through 5, but they get it sorted out. Madden on the outside with the momentum. There is a nice battle back there. Let's go to third real quick. Oh, I thought Perry was going to make a stab at it.
I was thinking so too. Rob Fierce, he took away that position again from Jason Perry down into turn 5. And yeah, Jonathan Mann, he's also still leading that race right now for the first position. In between, we have the lap car of Richard Frank.
I lied to you, viewers. We're going to try to cover both of those battles if we can. The one between Madden and Gaspers, and then for the final podium spot between Perry and Fierce. And you know what? Let's look at P5. Oh, I'm such a liar. Look at this battle. This is a 3-car battle back here. Lindroff, Reese, and Williams. Too good to ignore. Up front. We got to go here. Sorry to jump you around, guys, but we got to do it. Pass for the lead. Gaspers gets it going down into Canada. Let's go back to third position now. Here comes another pass. Perry on the outside gets it done on Fierce. While we're at it, let's go to fifth position. Reese is going to get to Canada first, ahead of Williams and Lindoff.
Clark Williams, he gained 1 position there over Hendrik Lindoff, who was side by side with Antonio Reese through the kink, but ran a bit too wide, had to get out of the throttle to not run into the bumps on the outside of the kink. So he slots down into 7th position. Up ahead though, Jonathan Madden, he did once again get credited with the lead of the lap by 17 1/1000ths of a second.
Look at Gaspers not surrender that position, tried to pin Madden down in that first corner. This is the last lap now. I don't think anything's going to be decided until they come out of corner for number 14. Who gets the best drive and who tries to get to the first to the finish line. Let's quickly go to the battle for third because they're coming up on a lapped car. This is Richard Franco. We saw Franco have issues before. Keep a line here. I think we're going to be okay. Hate to jump you around so much as those guys head down into corner number 5. Franco is going to let one car by and the second car by.
And let's see if Jason Perry is able to get alongside Rob Fierce. No, he is not. Well, he is. He outbrakes him. Can he stay side by side though? Can he hold the line? Yes, he can. But now the momentum shifts to Rob Fierce here on the outside and is able to get past. Not quite. They're still side by side. Rob Fierce though a bit too wide. They're through turn 6, still side by side.
We can stay on this battle a little bit longer. Nothing going on up front. They are just racing 1-2 right now. Let's see how that final podium position plays out. And right now it looks like Fierce has it. Now we got to go up to P1. They come out of the carousel.
And
we are going to stick up here. Go ahead.
David Gaspers actually overtook Jonathan Madden into turn 5. This is actually huge because only one time so far we have seen the car in second place be able to draft past up to the finish line. And that was actually done by David Gaspers. So It's going to be interesting if Jonathan Madden will be able to do it. As David Gaspers
he's loose! He's got to gather it up. He's got to get it gathered up and not lose momentum. I think he's going to be okay. He had himself where he wanted to be. He was up in front. He decided he wanted to be the leader out of the final corner. But now we come to the final corner and Gaspers has some work to do. We need a good exit out of here from Madden. They do it. Madden keeps the car. Oh, it looks real good. Gasper is 2 car lengths back. I think he's going to run out of time. The start-finish line is a long way away, but I don't think he's going to get there. I think he gave it away. Let's go ahead and give the 20th edition of the SRF Big Grid goes to Jonathan Madden. Gaspers gets second. Let's go to Fierce.
Yeah, Jason Perry is right now leading this race for third, but he has that damage to his car. And Rob Fierce really drops up. This is going to be a photo finish here for P3.
He got him.
And Rob Fierce got him.
Let's go back to 5th.
Hendrik Lindorf is going to take away 5th position there. Clark Williams is going to take away 7th.
We'll go down to 11th position. This is Liero ahead of Steve Ray. Ray has a run. I think he's going to have time to get there. Liero tries to take his half out of the middle. Here comes Ray. He's a half car length back. He's a quarter car length back. He's trying to get there. He does not make it.
Just about stalled out there on the side of Alejandro Leiro. Just about 3 inches away from that P11.
We're going to go back and look at the mistake from the Ghost. David the Ghost Gaspers makes the mistake in coming out of Canada, I believe. Opened the door for John Madden. And there goes the coach up into the lead. Well, Road America always puts on a good show, and these SRFs just make it all that much better. The racing is over here in Wisconsin, but our broadcast is far from done. We'll take a short break. We'll come back to run down the entire order, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Back in a few. sanctioned by the Weekend Warriors. This is the 20th edition of the SRF vRunoff Big Grid here from Road America. Let's give you the finishing order. It was Jonathan Madden and David Gaspers in a race-long battle. Madden gets the best of it. Gaspers makes a mistake coming out of Canada. That cost him the win, or at least a chance at it, as he has to settle for second. Rob Thiers outduels Jason Perry for the final podium spot. Hendrik Lindroff and Antonio Rios go 5th and 6th. Clark Williams and Adam Bradshaw 7th and 8th. 9th and 10th go to Michael Shaw and Rob Kern.
Alejandro Leiro just sneaked away with the 11th position over Stevie Ray, who bears the number 11. Josh Smets in 13th, James Tieber 14th, Gary McGreevy not improving but losing only one position over his starting position from 14th into 15th. Paul Barbusa from 33rd into 16th. Jeff Cantor from 27th to 17th. Nathan Settle, another guy with a lot of gained positions, from 35th into 18th. Richard Yeland, the guy we saw parking his car to get some pizza, from 18th into 19th. Marek Ondrak starts in 20th and finishes in 20th.
5 more drivers finishing on the lead lap. In the blackjack position, Tom Gradwell ahead with Christopher Patterson. James McGill behind him in 23rd. Rick Hansen after him. The final car in the quarter-century mark on the lead lap is Paulo Martins. Then we get to the guys who had trouble one lap down. Richard Franco, Jeff Hornyak, John Dion. We saw him have his issues and as he comes home in 28th. Madai Makrani ends up in 29th, and rounding out the top 30, Kane Halliburton. He was quick, qualified 5th. He's not going to be happy with that result. Stefan, take us home.
Edward Rohiti in 31st, Luca Leonetto Agretti in 32nd, David Garrido Sanchez in 33rd, Mats Sjöblom 34th, James King 35th, Jeff Jacobson were already well within the guys that didn't finish this race in 36th, Stephen Elson 37th, Francesco Bernardo 38th, Mark Geehan 39th, Wayne Palmer, the last car to take the green flag, in 40th, and 41st did not start the race, Michael Griffith.
I will fill for just a minute to give the drivers a chance to climb up the steps here and talk to us in the broadcast booth. I'd like to thank everybody at the Weekend Warriors community, and especially Steve Ray, for organizing this event and contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. We're always happy to do this one, and we look forward to doing one again in 13 weeks. Looks like nobody's going to come to talk to us, so we'll just finish this up. Oh, we do. We have our race winner. Let's go ahead and talk to. Oh, there they are. I was looking in the wrong place. We got people. Let's go ahead and talk to John Madden, who got the race win. John, congratulations. My goodness, it was a fun battle.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. David and I had a great race, and Rob as well. And there's a couple of people behind us. They sort of dropped off. I didn't actually see what happened to some of them, but David and I, we made the most of the second half of the race when it was just he and I. There was $5 on the line for most laps led, so we sort of did that for a while. But yeah, good fun.
Now he makes the pass on you on the last lap going into quarter number 5. So clearly, I guess Gaspers thought, all right, I want to be the leader coming out of that final corner. If you had your preference, assuming nobody makes a mistake, where did you want to be coming out of 14?
I would have preferred to have been in second. That's sort of what I waited for. I decided not to pass him on the back straight there into Canada and just hung out behind him. And he took it a little bit deep and went too wide and sort of forced my hand, so I had to pass. But I think at that point I had just enough of a gap to not make it such a big deal with the draft. But second is good. But I won here a couple of years ago from leading from first, so you never know.
Okay, there was a big wind out there. I don't know if it carried over into the car. It was pushing drivers in the kink to the outside. Could you feel it at all, or was it a non-issue?
You can feel it sometimes, sure. The biggest thing with the kink in this car is that the aero push is just brutal. You have to be really, really careful of how you tuck in behind people when you're going through the kink. It's quite easy to not only get too close, but then you end up wide and hit the bump. And there's some things that can happen to you if you go out there. So, yeah, you just got to be careful.
We talked about it. You mentioned it real quick with this to follow up. You're familiar with the name David Gaspers. You've raced with him before.
Yeah, David and I go back a long way. I've done a million races with David, and he's a good dude and awesome sim racer. So it's fun to race with him.
Yeah, we saw him. You qualified on the pole. We saw Gasper qualifying in 7th. We said, oh, that means nothing. Those guys will be together before this is over. Hey, congratulations on the win. We look forward to seeing you on other GSRC events. And if not, we'll see you in 13 weeks when we do this again.
Sounds great, guys. Thank you. Take care.
There's your winner, John Madden, today. All right, Steph, who you got?
Well, I'm sitting here besides David Gaspers, our second place finisher. And David, we saw quite the battle folding out between you and Jonathan Mann. How did it feel to you trading back and forth through all these laps?
Yeah, it was fun. I used to race a lot against Jones, so we have some experience doing that. Most of the fighting wasn't really fighting, but just letting each other go on the straight, except for the last straight and the last few corners, because we wanted to be in the front at the start-finish line to get some credits for the most laps led, but I think he got that.
And talking about that last lap, you had quite the problems there through Canada Corner. Talk us through what happened there with your car.
I was hoping for him to attack me there because I didn't want to lead in the last corner. And then he didn't attack me, braked a little too early, and because of that went off of the brake again and was too fast. I think in general that mistake actually helped me, but then I messed up the last corner anyways.
Well, that's how the story sometimes can go. Now, we're done with week 13 for the Weekend Warriors. Are you planning on coming back next season?
That depends on the track and if we have a pit stop. If we have a pit stop, I won't race.
Oh, interesting. Well, then, we will be happy anyways to see you back, even if we have a pit stop. And yeah, that was David Gaspers, your second place finisher of today's motor race here at Road America. And Bill San has now caught up with Rob Fierce.
Rob, do you have a comment? I wrote you off there. I thought your race was done back on lap 6 when you got together with the driver making a move. I think Sanchez was making a move on the inside, but he had a nice recovery.
Yeah, man, that was rough. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I didn't know he was there. But yeah, man, that was a great race coming back.
Did you know he was there? It was an interesting when we looked at it, but did you come down on him? Did he not understand? What do you think happened? You know?
I had a lot going on there, and I'm not sure that he was there at all. I didn't hear it in my spotter, and if it was my fault, I'm sincerely apologize to him.
I think your phrase, I had a lot going on there. I think that this typifies what was happening. Yeah, there was action that happened in front of it. It was a chaotic moment. All right, let's put that behind us. Let's talk about the drive-through. You fell all the way back to, my goodness, about, I think it was probably 9th position. And you were still out there. You worked your way through and then was able to hang in there and run down a podium spot.
Yeah, man, that was pretty cool. Got together with Jason, and we were just trying to put in some laps to catch the guys in front of us. And just about the time we said, screw it, we're going to race, they wrecked out in front of us, and we just went for it.
Let's take you to the final corner of the final lap. Did you have an idea where you wanted to be? Did you want to be behind or up ahead coming out of 14?
I wanted to be behind. My tires were going, and I was not getting any traction out of that quarter. I knew the only way I'd pull it off was to draft up behind him.
Well, it was fun. You put on a good show. Congratulations on the podium. We look forward to seeing you in other GSRC leagues that we cover, and if not, we'll see you in week 13 next time.
Yep, right on, man. Thank you.
Rob Fierce, your final podium finisher here today. Okay. That's going to do it here for the Global Sim Racing Channel. I talked about everybody at the Weekend Warriors. We'd like to thank them for organizing this, and especially Steve Ray for putting this on and selecting GSRC to once again be the broadcasting company of choice. On screen now are just some of the equipment and software used to stream cyberspace into your place. The original music that lets your ears alert your eyes. Hey, you're watching a GSRC production. Well, that comes courtesy of Eric Eckholm and June Lalonde. See the screen to how to contact each of them. If all things continue to go as expected, the SRF vRunoffs will be back next week 13, next time around. GSRC hopes to be there covering the action along with the iRacing Esports Network. Sliding across your screen now are just some of the upcoming broadcasts, so check them out and mark them down on your calendar. If you'd like more information about the Global Sim Racing Channel, here's your best bet, globalsimracingchannel.com. We got other options, Twitter, GSR Channel, Facebook, Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram, GSRC_Gram. If you haven't done so, what are you waiting for? Head over to our YouTube page and hit that big red button and become a YouTube subscriber. You'll get a lot of information. You won't miss any of the events here on GSRC. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, that would be Stefan, Amjad, and Dougie, I'd like to thank all of you for watching as we saw the coach, Jonathan Madden, pick up the win here in the 20th edition of the SRF vRunoff Big Grid. With that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race hard, race clean, and we'll see you on the track.